Benefit from trusted clinical content and the latest medical research with Clinical Key AI. Now offering individual, annual, and monthly subscriptions. Start your free 14-day trial today. Streamline your treatment recommendations and tackle complex clinical questions with our advanced AI conversational search tool. Designed specifically for clinicians and residents, access a wealth of knowledge from Braunwald's heart disease to The Lancet, all at your fingertips. Visit join.elsevier.com/free trial CKAI to begin your trial today.
Hi, I'm Lindsey Smith, welcoming you to Raise the Line with Osmosis from Elsevier, an ongoing exploration about how to improve health and healthcare. I'm excited to welcome an Osmosis colleague to the show today, Alfred Collins, so we can explore the increasingly important need for virtual community building and how new technologies are contributing to this work. Alfred is a community specialist at Osmosis with a keen interest in developing tech solutions to power the future of human communication. Among his achievements, he has created and managed projects designing human experiences for virtual spaces using virtual reality and augmented reality technologies. He also leveraged AI to foster climate sustainability through the Global Collaboration Village, which is a metaverse-based project, and has co-founded a tech startup empowering Africa's next generation of innovators with skills of the future marketplace. I'm really looking forward to learning more about his work to push boundaries in the tech and community landscape. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alfred.
Thank you very much, Lindsey. Exciting to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I'd like to start by learning more about your background and career journey. Alfred, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, that's a very good question to start with. So first off, my background actually is not necessarily one filled with lots of sweetness and all. It's a mixture of different experiences. And I do think that that background, that mixture of different experiences have forged my character. They've actually helped me to chart a course that is pretty much unconventional in this part of the world. I currently live in a third world country with all the challenges that come with it. So that means that I was born in a rural community and somewhere in southwestern Nigeria, that's in West Africa. We didn't really have access to all the basic amenities you would see in the first world country or in the global north. So, for example, access to a library was a luxury. Access to books, educational resources was a big luxury, actually. But one big thing that probably is the differentiating factor for me growing up, coming from that background, was my mom. So my mom is a teacher. She still is, so she's been a teacher for over 30 years. I actually come from a lineage of teachers, actually. My mom and the one before her grandma, like they've been teaching, maybe not necessarily in English, but like oral traditions from our home country. So my mom really did influence me in terms of how we grew up. So she, being a teacher, had a lot of access to educational books. So our rooms were usually stacked up with newspapers, books, educational books, comics as well. So we would have like a weekly publication, weekly release of Marvel comics being sent to us. My mom would bring them and just like bring them to the house and would have that. Would also have, I remember there was one other comic called Super Striker. So all of those books around the house that I was surrounded by allowed me somehow to, I think, transported out of the geophysical location I was currently in growing up at the time and all of its limitations. So books were like an escape room for me. It allowed me, literally delve into worlds that were thousands of miles away from me. And I became a book lover. I totally grew up loving stories. Anything that had to do with a story, a good novel that had to do with a comic. And at the time, later on, a couple of years later when I grew up, I think as at the age of 8, 9, we got a colored television in the house and we watched a lot of cartoons. So those were like my escape guide, helping me. And they helped to form my mind, right? They helped to build some sort of awareness about the world around me. They also helped to build my diction. My background in terms of growing with a single mother actually helped also build character in terms of resilience. I saw how my mom literally financed my education, and I have 3 other siblings, that's 4 of us. She literally financed our education all the way to the university. The last child now is my sister. She's the only one still in school. All 3 of us, all the seniors, I'm the first, all the other 2, my brother and my immediate sister, they're all done with higher education. So each and every one of us had that perspective where we saw our mother literally built her career for herself, and at the same time she gave her all. She was really, really selfless in terms of how she contributed to us getting a higher education, completing a degree, and just going there. So those were like really, really formative experiences that I had. Yes, there were the challenges in my background and sort of locality that I grew up, but having a mother who was selfless, who literally contributed to us in terms of how we spoke. She made sure that we spoke correctly. She didn't allow any sort of wrong words in the house. She was very, very detailed in terms of how we spoke English, the kind of movies that we watched, the comics that we watched on TV, and even the books. And those literally framed my mindset. And I'm very, very sure that I owe no other reason. There's no other reason why I'm probably here doing this podcast other than that background that I had. Yes, tough one, but it came with a mixture of lots of learning, and I'm really grateful for it, Lindsey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really enjoyed hearing about the incredible impact that your mom has had. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'd like to kind of understand what drew you to work in community, which seems to be a big part of your work early on in your career.
Yes, good one. That's a good question as well. So, like I mentioned, growing up in that space where I saw a lot of difficulties in my surrounding. For example, getting access to books was a luxury for a lot of other kids in the area. Getting access to like a good guardian or parents. I was lucky my mom was selfless enough. She was caring enough to still stay and like take care of us. For a lot of other kids on the block, it was not like that. So I saw firsthand the power of community from my mom. She would make dinners, like sometimes during like what we call the festive holidays over here. Sometimes it was just like a normal casual weekend. My mom would make a very, very good meal and share them with the kids in the surrounding. I never understood why she did that as a kid, because I felt like, oh my God, I want to eat all of that. But my mom would, make some extra plate and call the kids from the area and even dish it out to them. I think my mom was the first character that exemplified community I saw growing up. And that stayed with me. At the time, I never knew what community was, I didn't know I would be working in the community space. But that thing, that character that my mom modeled, it left an imprint on me as a young person. So when I grew up, I went to college. I did a bachelor's degree in geology, earth science. That as well also equipped me with like lots of analytical skills. That's where the analytical part of myself came. A lot of logical research and like really, really core skills, hard skills, for thriving in the workspace came into being. And then straight out of college, I went into building startups. So first off, I was president for a community development scheme in a community somewhere around southwestern Nigeria, where I was championing and campaigning for gender equality for girls in rural communities to get access to education. And that's where I started to see, the power of aligning local stakeholders together to actually, work together on a core impact goal. So I would go meet like the rural heads in the community, school principals. A principal is like the head of a secondary school. For anybody who's listening to this outside of Nigeria, and I know it's a global audience, so it's like a school principal, like the head teacher, for example. So I would go meet them and like, can we get more representation for girls in your school? Then I'll organize seminars, local conferences in the local communities, and invite the girls to come around. They would attend, and then I'll tell them about it, building their own career. And all of this were gradually building they were the building blocks for me, Lindsey. So sometime in 2021, while doing all of this, a startup, an accelerator rather, in the US spotted the work I was building at the time, and they invited me to apply. It's called the Watson Institute Accelerator, and that was my first, if I would say, professional experience to community building. And since then, I've gone on, to like build communities across not just Africa, but even the US. Yeah, currently with Osmosis Asia, with another organization that was interested in crafting local stories for an Asian audience. If you've heard of the Road Belt Initiative, it's this burgeoning interest between China and Africa. So I was creating local stories for an Asian audience at the time. I've also built startups here in Africa, another one called like Developer Relations, where I was helping developers, local talents, get access to jobs outside of the local community, jobs in the US and just all around the world. And, I've just steadily built that portfolio of projects in the community space. And that it literally widened my network. It literally just helped me see how the power of the internet in terms of bringing different people from different backgrounds and different cultures together in a local virtual space, sort of, and aligning them around a common purpose. But yes, it's all still down to that imprint, like I mentioned, that I grew up with, and seeing the power of selflessness, the power of helping each other. Those are also our core values here at Osmosis, actually, starting from the heart, reaching forward. All of those really, really helped me build a career in community building.
Absolutely. And community work makes a huge difference in our everyday lives, whether it's inviting people to share a meal with you,
Yeah,
bringing together like-minded individuals, or helping shape the Osmosis Brand Ambassador Program, which we're going to get to a little bit later on. But what I
for
want
sure.
to,
Looking forward to that.
yes, what I want to ask you next is, where does your interest in technology and gamification come from?
Oh, that's a good word. All of the local stakeholder relationship thing, what you would call in the corporate space, I think it's called stakeholder relationship management, right? All of those things, I was practicing them real time without any tech product, any tech tools. I was just literally, I would write a letter and I would put them in a white envelope and take them to like, oh, the head of this community, and I'll go submit it there and they'll call me for a meeting. So there was like no technology at all. It was literally just word of mouth and me just like going out there and doing my thing. It was all orthodox, very, very analog methodologies rather. And it was only until I think sometime in 2019 to 2020, during the COVID period, I got access to a community of developers. So they were software developers, they were writing code. And I had this idea about providing access to clean energy. And that was the time where I started to see how tech actually helps to, allow this product or this vision that I had to cross my own geographical boundary, and I could reach even more people. So I'm currently a non-technical founder or a non-technical tech person, techie, if you want to call it that. So it means that I don't necessarily write code, right? But I come up with ideas. All right, like the program or the product requirement documents, for example. I write what the project vision should look like, the concept notes, all of those things. And then I have a team of developers, or I've worked with developers to help like build the software around this vision. And what that helped me do is that with the advent of these tools that I started to get exposed to, whether it was Discord, for example, or Slack for collaboration, or Zoom, for example, when I started hosting meetings with people outside of Nigeria, like joining meetings with people from China, the US, Brazil, like different countries all over the world, I started to see how the speed with which I could launch my visions, the speed with which I could build a following around a particular product or around a particular goal was faster. It became a lot more faster this time around. It was different from just taking a letter and submitting it. So technology and gamification has really, really helped to build that exponential impact for me as a community builder, where I'm no longer restricted by my own geography. I'm no longer restricted by the access to the local networks I have. Tech has helped me build some sort of following, some sort of network that is outside my current physical location. And gamification as well helps because it means that you can reward people for participating in a particular goal. You can reward people for participating in a particular product or project that you're working on. And that just means that with each incentive that you build into the design or into the structure of that project or that community, people are encouraged or incentivized sort of to continue to participate in the project. And that's what tech has been able to do, providing that exponential impact and just allowing me continue to build this at a faster rate.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I liked what you said there about technology helping you reach more individuals and also helping with speed. And I know we've seen at Osmosis as well. The combination of gamification and technology makes it more fun, makes it more engaging, and we know that our students really enjoy it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the keys to building virtual communities in general. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, for sure. That's another good one. So when it comes to building virtual communities this time around, I think one thing to note is that not everyone who joins is going to be from the same location. So what technology has helped us do, for example, we're currently on a software where we're connecting currently in Western Africa, you're in North America. So what technology does is to collapse the barriers, right? Collapse the barriers that would typically restrict us from being able to communicate or from being able to see one another. So when you're building a virtual community, it's important to note that not everyone will be from the same region or from the same geography. What that also means is that because they're not from the same region, they'll come from different backgrounds, different cultural perspectives, different approach to speaking or collaboration. The way a person from Brazil understands collaboration is not necessarily the same way someone from the US would understand it. Some persons like being direct. Being direct is built into their culture. For some others, they like to be introspective. They like to take time with your words. They like to, it's so understanding the nuances behind culture, behind global perspectives. That's a very, very important thing for a community builder. When you're building a virtual community, you must be able to think globally, even though you're probably acting locally. You exist within a local context, but the ability to extrapolate your ideas and to think from a global perspective, to think from a place where you're considering the nuances that are involved in the community, that's going to be very, very key for building virtual communities. And even now, the more that we're having immersive technologies come into play, you're seeing artificial intelligence, you're seeing virtual reality, you're seeing the metaverse begin to open up more and more. Those nuances are going to be more pronounced. The fine line between what is ethical and what is not, what is accepted in a particular region and what's not accepted, we're going to need, as community builders, we're going to need to do a lot more research around that, understanding what it means for people to feel included in the process of you building that community, what it means for people to feel accepted. So diversity, equity, and inclusion needs to be a lot more pronounced for people who are building virtual communities, because we need to recognize the values and the experiences that people come with into our communities, recognize that and make it a strength rather than a weakness. Recognize that and find ways to leverage that for making the experience more inclusive for people. So I think that those are like core areas that virtual community builders should look at, making people more included in the process of you building it. People tend to commit more to a community when they feel like they're a part of the process. That's something that we should probably think more when they feel like they contributed to building that. I know we're talking about the OHLI community later on, so that's something I can give like a core example around. When people feel included in the process, it's going to be easier, it's going to become natural for them to become engaged in the community.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Alfred. And I think this is a great segue into the challenges and the opportunities in building a community. And I know one of the challenges that we face is navigating differences in culture, languages, time zones, and all of those can affect how people connect and collaborate. But I think it brings a huge opportunity in that diversity. And I think when it's done thoughtfully, building communities across geographies allows for richer perspectives, more inclusive solutions, and a deeper sense of global connection. And I know that's something that's really important to us with the OHLI community.
Absolutely.
So you are a major player in the Osmosis Health Leadership Initiative, also known as the OHLI program. Can you give our listeners an overview of the program, what your role is, and provide some highlights?
This is a very exciting one, so I'm happy about this one. So the OHLI program was probably my biggest break in as a professional. So after building startups, building products, and then carrying out these campaigns over here in Africa, Asia, and the rest of them, the OHLI program was the first part of my career that really allowed me to reach people at the magnitude of skill by which I was able to reach more people with my skill sets as a community builder was the highest. It was the Osmosis Community Program, or the Osmosis Health Leadership Initiative, was now the first place where I was interacting with students from across 54 different countries. Right now, I think it's around 60 different countries at right now. So it's growing at a very, very fast pace. So what the OHLI program simply is an extension of the Osmosis team, where we have ambassadors, people who are, they really, really care about the Osmosis product, and they're campaigning and helping us build a following about the Osmosis product in their respective regions. So we have a network of student leaders who join the program from over 60 different countries, like I mentioned earlier. We're currently at around 200 students, and they help to build Osmosis in terms of the following, in terms of referrals, in terms of acquisitions. Some of them even help us with making like a warm introduction in terms of connecting college faculty members to like a sales associate to help us see how we can even make sure that Osmosis is provided for more students in the school. Some of them also host events, actually. So the OHLI program doesn't just focus on you coming and being a part of the community. It's a lot about giving back to people who use the product the most. So we try to scout students who are actively using Osmosis, and then we want to reward them for using this product. And, building off of that good relationship that we already have with them, they have a good understanding of the product. We take these students, we call them OHLIs or student leaders, and they in turn help to promote the use of Osmosis among other students in their own region or in their school. And this has gotten a lot of, remarkable comments. We've literally helped students balance their mental health, because we know how healthcare students are they're really struggling. Some of them dedicate upwards of... Yesterday, I was speaking with a med student from, I think it was from Colombia, and she was just literally flying back from the UK, and she had to go for like rotations that same day, 12 hours rotations. She wasn't going to coming back until the next morning. And I was just trying my best, to provide some sort of emotional support. And that's something that the OHLI program does outside of you just being a member. That thing about helping you balance your emotional and mental health, exposing you to what healthcare looks like in a different region. So you're currently in Colombia, you're trying to take the USMLE, you want to understand what healthcare looks like in the US. The OHLI program is probably, inarguably, in fact, the best place for you to do that. We've trained quite a number of students who have gone on to become residents. Some of them have marched into hospitals in the US, and we've seen a track record of students literally grow their leadership skills. Some of them come in being very, very naive, because yes, they use the products. For most times, they are just focused on their books. When they come into the OHLI program, we help them build leadership capacities. So one way we do that is, for example, through mentorship. We also do that through hosting an event. This students, initially, it's something like a fear for them, like a phobia in terms of speaking publicly. But after 1 semester, 2 semesters, you can see the students already hosting 2-3 events in a semester. Somebody who would typically be shy about like standing before 10 people is hosting an event with over 200 persons. Like, we've seen this happen in the community. Students being bold about sharing their passions, their inspirations. Students also exploring other talents and skill sets that they have outside of medicine. Some of them build their own social media presence, social media following. So it's literally some sort of transformational experience, and it's inarguably the best one out there for healthcare students from around the world. Initially, it was focused on just medicine and nursing, but since we've seen the amount of success we've gained in that scene, we've gone on to invite dentistry students to join, PA students, physician assistants. And so if you're listening to this podcast, feel free to visit osmosis.org/community, where you'll be finding out more. And I'll be happy to cover more of that for sure, Lindsey, if you have more questions for me.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, Alfred. OHLIs are definitely an extension of the Osmosis team.
Yeah.
With over 200 students from 60 countries. I mean, that's incredible. And I've had the true privilege of seeing firsthand how incredible the OHLI program is. And it was built by 2 Osmosis originals. And we'll give a quick shout out to them, Hilary Acer and Shib Gaglani.
Yeah.
And the way that it's grown has just been truly incredible to see.
True.
So you touched on this a little bit, Alfred, but I want to kind of circle back on this one and really kind of dial in on, for our audience, why should you be part of the OHLI program?
Good question. So why not? It's literally got everything in here. So you know how you're building or you're studying medicine or you're studying nursing, you're studying it somewhere in Europe. Let's say we see students coming from what's it called now, Romania. And for them, they literally get the access to the textbooks and all of that. But coming into the program has allowed them to meet with a network of really exceptional students. And let me add this, the acceptance rate for the OHLI program is just somewhere around 5%. So it means that you're actually talking about the cream de la cream of students around the world. It's like top tier students. We get hundreds of applications every year, but only quite a fraction get in, because we're really looking for, that diligence, that commitments to the program. So students from other regions of the world join, and then you get exposed to other exceptional students who are building incredible careers all over the world. You're getting access to a network of healthcare leaders from around the world. You're getting access to industry stakeholders as well. So these are folks who are not necessarily students, but let's call them thought leaders in the healthcare space. Someone like Amin Azam, shout out to Amin. Someone like Shiv as well, who used to join us for our meetings. So these are thought leaders who have built a career spanning the last 20, 25 years in the healthcare space. And they are coming to give, this what we call monthly meetings, community monthly meetings. We have like 2 every month, Tuesday, Thursdays, and you get to pick just one to attend. So these speakers join us and then they share from the wealth of their experience so that our students can take these insights and, and build them into the career. So you literally you're shortening the gap between where you are currently and where you want to be. So you're taking the experience of someone who has been in the healthcare space for the last 20 years, and that is accelerating your impact as a young, 21-year-old or 20-year-old somewhere in Romania or somewhere in Czech Republic, or even if it's somewhere like Nigeria, Rwanda, all over the world. We have students from Brazil, Colombia. Just this spring, we had students join us from Honduras. We have students joining from Argentina. So it's a really, really diverse program where you'd be recognized for your abilities. But at the same time, we really do push these students to become even better. So they get to also host events. That's something that you should be looking forward to when you join the OHLI program, building your leadership capacity in terms of speaking publicly or leading a team. Ongoing right now, this is March. At the time we're recording this podcast, we're currently undergoing a hackathon project. So it's like rapid prototyping for some of the students. Some of them they've never participated in a hackathon before, but we've laid out a structure where they are able to now collaborate in a team of about 5 to 6 of them in one team, and then they build a product towards one idea. So they're revamping the future of healthcare while allowing them envision what healthcare should look like in the next 10 years, next 15 years, and giving them the space to build that. Like, that is phenomenal for any student at all. Like, it's literally, it's a game changer for a lot of students that they can come into the program and get all of this. Another interesting part about coming into the program is you get access to Osmosis resources. So there's free Prime for 6 months. That's something a lot of students are really, really happy about. Then we've had GME products coming, for example, clinical key students. There's complete anatomy for 3 months. And then there's a bit of incentive in there sometimes where we try to send gift cards to students to reward them for participating in the community. So those are just one of those benefits, from expert mentorships, thought leadership sessions, monthly meetings, access to the global network of students around the world. One key one, I think, I don't want to miss this, is as an OHLI or student leader, an Osmosis student leader, you'll also be contributing towards improving the Osmosis products. Recently, we saw some OHLIs, we selected about 10 of them to work with our product team to improve certain aspects of the Osmosis product. So they also get first-time access, early access to releases that should be pushed out later on. As an OHLI, you get early access to it, you get to test it and provide feedback to our product team. And that's just exceptional. That's an amazing experience for a lot of young students to get to meet someone like Shiv, Hillary, Lindsey, all the incredible. We have students who are animators. They do animators part-time, and getting to meet somebody who writes the animation or the scripts in Osmosis is like a lifetime experience, once in a lifetime experience for them, and it's really, really exceptional how much impact we're helping these students achieve.
Thank you for telling us about so many benefits of the OHLI program. And to our listeners, we hope to see your OHLI application soon.
For sure. Please send them.
Yes, definitely. Send them on their way. And we'll provide all of the information at the end of the podcast for everyone who would like to apply. I want to switch gears slightly and talk about technology again. And what technologies specifically are you most excited about today, Alfred?
Ooh, I don't know if I should be excited for this one, or I think it's also a tough one because there's the AI trend out there. Everyone is talking about artificial intelligence. So I'm not sure if I should still tie into that. Yes, there's definitely artificial intelligence. I think that's not something that's going away anytime soon. We've seen OpenAI. Recently, we've seen DeepSeek come shake up the market a bit. There's Perplexity, there's Cloud AI. So a lot of really great opportunities and options out there. But I think that's something I'm looking at as a community builder is in the impact that virtual reality is bringing. It's still very nascent, and I think that's why a lot of folks are not catching up early enough on it, because everyone's wondering, why am I going to keep a headset on my face like all through the day? You want to imagine these technologies in their future states, not where they are currently. A lot of the technologies or the products out there in the virtual reality world are still early models. It's just literally the companies testing them out. So imagine what virtual reality would look like for a healthcare student 15 years from now, where it's simply a contact lens. You don't necessarily need to wear a headset. I know that the physics behind that is still very, very, very far removed from now, but it could literally expand the way that physicians, healthcare professionals interact with their world, or interact with their own, field of learning, or interact with, for example, a patient. There's complete anatomy. I know that complete anatomy is doing incredible work in that space with augmented reality technologies, where you can, extrapolate visual representations of different organs of the human body and see those things. And you could interact with them like literally very, very physical on your table, like your study tables or something. And if we can do that, if we can achieve all of that 2025, imagine what it would look like by 2035, by 2040. I think we're in for a renaissance in terms of innovation. We're in for a renaissance in terms of inventions that 100 years from now, 100 years before now, seemed like almost impossible to the inventors and scientists who lived there. AI, the intersection of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality will cause these things to come to the fore. I know there's a terminology for it. It's called the fourth industrial revolution. And we're going to see a really, really big outburst of productivity for young people. Another thing is going to cause the world to be, in terms of social impact, outside of just education, in terms of social impact, I'm excited about VR and AR in the sense that they can further bridge walls between people living in different parts of the world, whether you're in the global north or you're in the global south region. Getting to interact with a family member who's living in the US, if you're living in Ghana, for example, could literally be like interacting with someone in your room. Imagine what that would do to loved ones. A father would have to leave his wife and his 2-year-old daughter to go do a PhD in the US. That would break the barriers so much. We could have higher, deeper quality interactions for families. We could have deeper quality interactions for partners, people who've not seen themselves in a long while. And that's something that I'm looking at in terms of how it will shape human relationships. It means that our relationship will be much more meaningful, much more immersive, rather than just 2D environments that we have today. We would have 3D real-time environments that are immersive, co-presencing. And those are like really, really fascinating things. And I'm building some stuff in there too. So wish me luck with that as well. So I'm looking forward to a very, very happy future for sure. You can be sure about that.
Yeah, for sure. And technology is changing so rapidly. I think it's exciting to think about the possibilities yet to come. And you mentioned a few ones that you're particularly excited about: AI, augmented reality. You mentioned a really good one: complete anatomy, complete hard X, and exciting to see what's on the horizon there.
True.
So thank you for sharing that. So as you know, you're very familiar with Osmosis, Alfred, but we're a teaching company and we love to fill knowledge gaps. Is there a topic you think Osmosis should make a video about to fill a gap that is of particular concern or interest to you?
I think that since these technologies I mentioned are going to shape literally every field out there, whether it's healthcare or finance, whether it's sports or hospitality, we're seeing the application of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, shape these industries in a way that even the local players in there never even knew. For example, folks in the finance industry would literally feed amounts of data into like an O1 mini model built by OpenAI, and the amount of insights they would get from it is just fascinating. They would in 5 years they would probably have paid PhD students to work on that sort of data amount and release it, send them a report, build insights around it. But at just one click, within like a day, the artificial intelligence systems are helping to provide insights, like deep-seated insights from these data points. So I think that if there's something I'm looking at from Osmosis is helping healthcare students understand how to get started with these frontier technologies. We don't want the healthcare space to lag behind. Yes, there's all the talk about ethics, right? Yes, we're not really sure what sort of guardrails to put in place to ensure that nobody feels neglected or nobody feels like their personal rights are being infringed upon. But if we can help healthcare students through Osmosis, which is a global platform, is the world's leading online learning platform for healthcare students. If we can help healthcare students understand how to get started with AI, virtual reality, that could really, really be a big big one for us, a big market for us as an organization. So that's something that I think that I would recommend, helping healthcare students, medicine, dentistry, nursing, understand, building courses around that, getting started with AI, getting started with VR.
That's a great suggestion, Alfred, to help healthcare students get started with AI and the ever-changing new technologies that we see every single day.
For sure.
So we have many students and early career health professionals in our audience. What's your go-to advice about establishing and building a successful career?
Oh, it's a good question. This is probably my pick of the bunch. Every week, I get to speak with somewhere around 10 different students, healthcare students, nursing students, because our community is big, right? So I have students knocking on my door wanting to talk, and I'm always happy to talk. I'm a very, very good conversationalist. I'm here for folks. That's another good thing when you join the program. You always have a listening ear to listening to you anytime I talk. So let me just add that in there. And one thing I have noticed every time I speak with healthcare students is the feeling of self-doubt that creeps in where you feel like you're not good enough, where you feel like you don't have the right skills or the right talent to go there and do something, to apply for that research, to apply for that fellowship program. It creeps in a lot of students, and sometimes they don't even know it. They are speaking to me, and I can see that this person is speaking from past experiences, past trauma, past pain, the overload, the deluge of work that they've had to do for the last couple of months, and all of that affects their productivity. It affects the outlook that they have of the world. So if there's anything I would advise anyone to is adopt. It might seem like a very, very hard thing to do, but adopt a much more positive approach to the world. And that starts not just from you. Yes, you have to make the decision to do it, but I advise students that I speak with to start from the place of taking care of the mental health. If you prioritize your mental health, in terms of, yes, you're going to do that 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, but don't let the negative comments you get from a senior official in the hospital get to you. Don't let it entirely cloud your picture or the image that you have about yourself. Understand how feedback in the workspace happens and how that is entirely separate from who you are as an individual. You're not necessarily always going to be perfect, but you're beautiful just the way you are. There's somebody who values you just the way you are. And you don't want to lose what makes you unique, trying to catch up with something or trying to make somebody pleased at work, right? I think that's my biggest advice to people. Don't lose what makes you unique. Don't lose your inner child like some persons would refer to it. Continue to have a positive outlook to the world. But more opportunities would come, good opportunities would come your way. Every student who was ever scared about, I'm not sure if I should take the USMLE. I've worked with students for like the last 3 years, and each and every one of them who was scared, they've all passed the USMLE now, doing very, very well. Some of them have gone on to be resident doctors. Some of them have gone on to, recently we had Yasier. Congratulations to him, who just matched with a hospital in the US. We've seen these students, they started really, really naive, but shedding away that skin of naivety, shedding away that skin of, I'm not good enough, that those dogmas or those mindsets of being not good enough, when you can shed it away, it allows you to step into the light and become a better person. It allows you to step into the light and see opportunities that you didn't even know were there, and just go on to be a better version of yourself. So that's my biggest advice to anyone right now listening to this podcast.
That is really solid advice for our listeners. And the few points I want to come back to is, number 1, adopt a positive approach to the world. Number 2, prioritize your mental health. And number 3, stay unique. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Before we go ahead and wrap up this episode, I wanted to give you an opportunity, Alfred, to share anything that maybe we didn't touch on or didn't cover with our audience. What do you have for us?
Okay, I think it's just to mention that if you listen to this podcast now, watch out for applications to join the OHLI community program. Applications should open up sometime in April, ending of April, and it will be available the application form will be available on our website, osmosis.org/community, up until June. So we're looking forward to hearing from you about your enthusiasm to join the community, and we'll be happy to let you know if you do make a good fit. We're always looking for students around the world, so please feel free to send in that application.
Thank you so much, Alfred, for being with us today. It's been a real pleasure hearing your insights.
Thank you for inviting me.
For anyone interested in learning more about the OHLI program, Osmosis's brand ambassador program, please head over to www.osmosis.org/community. We're always looking for passionate student leaders who want to make a difference in healthcare education and embody the Osmosis values. This program is all about growth, connection, and impact, empowering learners to become leaders at their institutions and helping spread the osmosis culture and mission around the world. We'd love to have you join us. I'm Lindsey Smith. Thanks for checking out today's show. Remember to do your part to raise the line and strengthen the healthcare system. We're all in this together.
If you like this podcast, please share it on your social channels. You can also subscribe to the series and check out all of our episodes at osmosis.org/raisethelines podcast.